Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Inside the Hem. I'm Lindsay, and this is a series that I have been doing focusing on recreating Draper James ready-to-wear garments out of the fabrics that were just released at JOANN with their Draper James collaboration. We have looked at eyelet fabrics. We've looked at floral cotton fabrics. Today, we're going to be looking at geometric cotton fabrics. And I am going to be pairing these fabrics up with sewing patterns from the Big Five to help us recreate garments inspired by actual Draper James designs. All right, so now that we are 3 videos into this series, I want to point out that...
All right, so for our geometric cottons, we've got some stripes, some dots, and trellises. Trellisae. Stripes on green, pink, and pastel, and they're all the same size stripe, but they're different colors, kind of like an ombre-ish vibe on green and pink, and then the pastels is kind of a little bit sort of like rainbow. We've got dots on red, on blue, on green, and then we've got trellis on yellow, pink, purple, and blue. So when I was looking for ready-to-wear inspiration, I kept coming across geometric garments, but in very similar styles to what we've already seen. So I don't have as much inspiration specifically for this, but you could definitely go through the floral cotton video and the eyelet video and use any of those patterns as inspiration as well. So specifically for these geometrics, I chose this Harper Love circle dress. This is really playing up the stripes, okay? So we have a kind of like a half circle skirt cut up the center front to give this kind of chevron look. And then the bodice has vertical stripes. This is a horizontal band. And then the straps are cut on the horizontal as well. We don't get a picture of the back, but I imagine it's very similar, and the zipper's probably back there. Pattern-wise, I found the following. We've got Butterick 4443. I chose this one because of the band of B. You will be adding your own straps to B. Straps are just tubes. I know you guys can figure out how to draft your own straps and attach them to this bodice. But you would be cutting the front, the skirt, not on the fold. You'll be cutting it with a seam along the center front, so be sure to add your seam allowances when you go to do that. This one has a princess seam, which our inspo did not. I think our inspo just has waist darts, but the princess seams are also beautiful always, and you've seen that Draper James loves a princess seam with a circle skirt, so very Draper James coded here. Next, I also found McCall's, what is this, 8388. I know you're thinking, what in the heck? But look at this one. Okay, this one is very similar. It's just a peplum and not a dress. So if you either don't wear dresses very often and want to make a peplum, this is a good option. Or if you want to make it a dress, then you would lengthen the peplum. Again, cut up the skirt so that you can have the chevron look. You would do these maybe you would do these horizontal and these vertical, or vice versa. Play around with the stripes on this. And then obviously your skirt, you'll need to cut this on the center back, right? You can't have your just butt hanging out. So seam this, sew this seam up right here. Okay, then there is Simplicity 9949. This one is a halter top, but again, can't you see how playing around with all of these stripes would be really fun and pretty? This is almost like a ribbon or a band that wraps around your whole body. Again, we've got the princess seams, and then these open up, so it makes for a really pretty fit and flare. Very, very much something I could see Draper James making, absolutely. And then finally for this one, we looked at this one yesterday with the floral cottons, but again, it was just too similar for me to not include it. This one would have, instead of the band being up here, the band would be down here. No one would know it would look totally intentional, I guess is my point. So you would be cutting up your skirt again, doing the chevron here, doing this in a horizontal stripe, and then doing this one in vertical. And the way that these two things would come together would create kind of like a chevron too, and then horizontal for your straps again. Next inspo, we have the Trisha shirt dress. Now this is made out of linen, but look how very, very similar this blue trellis is to our blue trellis. So here's the one at JOANN. It is 100% cotton. It says so here. Whereas our inspo is linen, 100% linen. So very, very similar print, if not the same print, just done in a different fabric, a different substrate. This fabric would be a little bit lighter weight than our cotton would be, would read very, very similar. This same dress style, this kind of like grown on sleeve, like a dolman sleeve with a shoulder seam, a collar, button front, just very loose, but then kind of cinched in with this self tie. It's also this one. So if you liked the stripes, if you liked any of these stripes, then this is the kind of the vibe you would get from that. This is the same dress though as this one. Both are Trisha. All right, so options for patterns are going to be 5, 6, 5, 2. Again, I know you're like, what the heck? This is a caftan, okay? So the arm openings are going to be a little bit lower, but if you take D, make these smaller so they're not so open on the side, add your self tie, and then don't have this, like cut it all on the center front fold, you would have a really cute version of this. Not a shirt dress, but still a really cute, easy to sew version of that. You could also go with Butterick 6943. These are the line drawings for 6493. Okay, obviously a lot more seaming here, but it does have the dolman. So I would eliminate this cuff. I would leave in the gathers because Draper James loves a gather. You do have your button front, and then if you did the striped one, you could play up the stripes like we did on the first inspiration, like this one. You could play up the stripes some if you used the stripe fabric. Lengthen this into a dress version and then add your self tie. And then last inspo is Butterick 6898. This one, again, has the dolman grown on sleeve. You're going to be making the short sleeve version. Again, eliminate the cuff, eliminate these little pockets, lengthen it to dress length, and add your self tie, and you've got something very, very similar. Probably in all three of these inspos, you can size down one to get a closer fit to where maybe your bust has like 5 inches of ease and the hip has something similar. Then we have this Penelope top, also in linen, but again, it's the same trellis fabric. They also have it in the stripe that we've been looking at, right? And they have it in this floral stripe as well, which is really just a solid stripe. So if you wanted to see what it looked like from something more similar to the stripes that we have available to us, it would be this one. So you've got your keyhole front with a collar, a little ruffle sleeve detail, bust darts, and then a little gathered peplum. Okay, so we've got new look 6340. This is a dress, but if you chopped it off at the waist and then made a separate, pretty much like 2 big rectangles, gathered them at the top, and then you would have your peplum. But this version here has the same notch neckline, and then you would also have to add your little ruffle. The ruffle on this sleeve is shaped kind of like a football, and then you fold it in half along the length of it, and that's how you get this little ruffled look. Really easy to do that. It doesn't even go all the way around the arm. There's like a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 inches of the arm side visible under here. Okay, so we've got that as a pattern option. We've got Simplicity 9274. Again, it has the notch neckline. This one has more details like this yoke and this pleating. to give it a little bit more of that like play on a button down without actually being that. This one I wouldn't recommend adding that ruffle sleeve. You could do the peplum if you wanted, but I would just make it just like this. This is like the less girly version inspired by the Draper James version here. Another inspo is McCall's 7408. So this one, we've got a deeper, more like tunic design to the front, but still really beautiful. And then more of just like a sheath dress. You could add the ruffle to the arm side if you wanted, or just leave it like this. You could also cut it at the waist and add the ruffle peplum if you wanted. All of those are really easy alterations to make. But this also just feels very Draper James, Lily Pulitzer, Laura Ashley. I mean, even with the trimming detail, it's all really pretty. And when we get to the shirtings video, you'll see that there are a lot of solids that would match our dots and our trellises. So if you wanted to do something with the contrast, make your own piping or whatever, you could do that with one of their matching solids.
All of these fabrics can be mixed and matched with all of the patterns that I'm talking about. Draper James is, in my opinion, kind of really good at taking one design, so one pattern, and making it out of many different fabrics. Whether that's the same substrate but different prints or completely different substrates altogether, they really do find a silhouette that works, a silhouette that they love, and then they just repeat it in a bunch of different fabrics. So these eyelets and cottons that are like that light to mid-weight, you know, cotton type structure without any drape, no knit, all of that kind of stuff can easily be swapped out. So if you liked one of the patterns but you don't like eyelet, for example, or if you like one of today's patterns but you don't wear stripes, make it out of one of the other fabrics in the other videos and it'll still look impeccable. Be sure to subscribe, like, and click the notification bell so you do not miss out on tomorrow's video where we will be doing this all over again, but we're going to be talking about the knit fabrics that JOANN has released. So see you back here tomorrow. Happy sewing.